Hi everyone, my name is Linda and I am just going to give you a quick summary of the sermon that I preached on Sunday. I spoke about God the rock, and I talked about how the Bible uses the metaphor of God as the rock all over throughout the Bible, but particularly in the Psalms. And I looked at the significance of that metaphor, God the rock, to us at this time. I pulled out a few key things. I talked about God being our refuge and shelter when life feels overwhelming. And I also talked about God being our strength and our security. And I pulled out a couple of particular examples that I think are relevant for the season that we are in. And I talked about some people feeling fearful or anxious during this COVID pandemic as we move from one phase to the next, and about how God is our security. He's the one we put our trust in, not government or even the pandemic. Or the effects of the pandemic. Our trust is in this mighty God, and that doesn't mean we're not wise, but it means we can move into this next phase with no fear but with wisdom. And I also talked about some of the racist incidents that have been taking place in America, and how for some people watching these incidents, watching these events could be evoking real sadness and just battle. I know that for many it will be bringing back old battles, and even some battles that we still face, of racism, and again reminding ourselves that our security and our strength is in not in what other people say about us or think about us, but actually in this God who does not change. This God who we've been looking at over the last few weeks, but this rock who is steady and sure. He calls us. He says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I emphasize that because I know at the moment insecurity can feel like a battle, especially if you are someone who has experienced some kind of discrimination in one form or another. And then I also talked about Jesus, the rock. He is the cornerstone on whom the church is built. He is the living stone who took the curse of the law, who broke the curse of the law so that we could be a people that have relationship with God through Jesus. And those were the main points that I made on Sunday, but it was a lot longer. And I've sent a few questions for us to reflect on the sermon. But one thing I would like to encourage you to do as a group and in smaller pairs or threes is to pray for one another at the end of your session, because I'm aware at the moment we are facing several crises almost, things that cause us trauma and a lot of pain and emotional pain at the moment. And it would be good to be able to share with one another, stand with one another, and pray for each other through this time.